Welcome everyone to today's Ninja Skill Booster, sparking the engagement fire. Such an important topic for all of us personally and professionally, for our teams, for our businesses. So much great content to share today. If you haven't met me before, I am Ninja Matt or Matt Cowdroy. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. You're welcome to get in touch with me after today's session at any time and ask questions, connect with our business on socials anywhere you like. And Julie's with us as well. Do you want to say a quick hello, Julie?
Hello.
Many of you know Julie or know me or our other ninjas have worked with us in the past. But there might be some of you who are here for the first time. So if you are here for the first time, welcome to our Ninja clan, our Ninja family. We're on a mission. We want to help you love your work. Our business was founded by Graham Alcott, who wrote How to Be a Productivity Ninja, amongst many other wonderful books. And for 10 years, we've been doing this work in Australia and New Zealand, and myself and Julie and others. And for over 15 years, we've been doing this work globally. So Graham's based out of the UK. And we love what we do. We are so passionate about this space. And today's topic, coming from the heart, thinking about engagement, so important in all of our lives. Before I get into today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands that we're all coming from today. Some have been sharing that in the chat. Please feel free to share in the chat where you're coming from. I'm in Guringai land, the northern beaches of Sydney. Julie's in Barkinjung country. And at this moment, I'd like to acknowledge the learning, the storytelling, the connection, the relationships, the culture that's been built for tens of thousands of years, and acknowledge the elders past, present, and emerging. So once again, welcome. Today, I hope to spark some ideas for engagement for you and your teams, for you and your business, but it's such an important topic to be thinking about. We're going to start by looking at where we are at from the Gallup State of Global Workforce Report 2025. We're going to be looking at some stats from that and other research and presenting and sharing where we are on this engagement journey, this employee engagement journey. And then I'm going to share some content from our new workshop. I'm so excited about this new workshop, Cracking the Engagement Puzzle. In this workshop, we share the 7 human needs that we've created. I'll share a little bit about the background to these 7 human needs. And these are the 7 human needs to help with work and life, to help lift employee engagement. Because employee engagement is such a difficult thing to grasp sometimes. Now, I love these sessions to be interactive. So please feel free to share anything you like in the chat. Change your settings so it goes to everyone as we go. So what is employee engagement? Here's a definition from ChatGPT for a 12-year-old. Employee engagement means how much a person cares about their job and wants to do their best. It's when people feel happy, proud, and excited to be part of a team. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Sounds like, yep, we know what it is. But as we all know, we're constantly measuring it. We're constantly trying to improve it because it matters. So why are we still talking about engagement? Well, the latest Gallup report makes this quite clear. And the quote from John Clifton, the CEO of Gallup, "We are witnessing a pivotal moment in the global workforce. The data shows that employees, particularly managers, feel disconnected." This is really concerning, particularly managers. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to look at some of the data, and then we're going to get into some very practical ideas for you to help you and your teams. So in 2024, from the 2025 report, global employee engagement fell again. So it went from 23% of people who feel engaged to 21%. So that's a 2% drop if you look at the actual numbers. But if you do trickery with the stats, it's a 10% drop because it's 2% out of 23. So it's nearly a 10% drop in engagement. Not good. But what was the primary cause of this? how can we dig into this? And it was managers, and managers are so important. So at the manager level, engagement dropped from 30% to 27%. We need our managers to be engaged. This really matters. So manager engagement affects team engagement. Of course it does. Our managers have such a huge impact on their teams. This affects productivity, which we're obviously very passionate about, but it's not just productivity. So when employees are engaged, this is also from the Gallup report. When employees are engaged, they're more productive. They're absent less. They produce more. They build better customer relationships. They close more sales. So whatever matters in your organization, many of you in the education space, they deliver better training. They deliver better courses for your students. Or in the finance space, they deliver better results. So what engages work teams the most? Their manager. So this is why focusing on the manager matters so much. So let's have a little bit more look at the data. Gallup split this into 3 different areas. So got 100 people on the slide here. Here's the 21% that are engaged. As we just shared, this was down by 2%. I'll talk about some Australian stats in a minute because these are the global stats. So 21% engaged, 62% not engaged. Look at all that. Look at all those orange people who are not engaged. I shouldn't laugh. This is concerning. Now this stat, I'm just checking my numbers here. This stat, the 62%, I haven't got the change in that one, sorry, but that's a significant number. But the one that really matters, 17% actively disengaged. So actively disengaged people are actually not just unhappy, they're resentful. They're possibly undermining what's happening in the workforce, undermining things in your company. So this is not great. Now in Australia, the stats weren't quite so bad. It was 12% actively disengaged. So not quite so bad in Australia. But here's a concerning thing about the Australian stats. 42% of people are actively seeking a new job. So think about that. Nearly half the people in your organization are actively seeking a new job. That's very, very concerning. Thank you, Abby, for the comment in the chat. And I would love to look at your PhD. I'm assuming that's a link to your PhD there. Wow, I want to have a look at that. Exactly the same thing I found in my PhD, says Abby. Thank you for putting that in the chat. So what does disengagement cost us? There was some research done by McLean and Company. A disengaged person that earns about $80,000 a year. If they're disengaged, it's going to cost the organization an extra $27,200 a year. These are Aussie dollars, but you can convert that ratio into any currency, okay? I converted it from the US dollars in the study. So that's nearly, what is that, about more than a third of the cost extra, 30% extra cost in your business when someone's disengaged. This is because other people might be having to do the work. We might be having to fix mistakes. We might be missing deadlines. We might be missing opportunities. So a disengaged person costs us money. In Australia and New Zealand, just a little bit of data to bring this more relevant to our region. Look at the percentage of people that say they are thriving at work over the last 13 years. What a concerning trend that is. So not only do we have these disengaged people, we're not feeling a sense of thriving. Just looking at another quote, another comment in the chat here. Thanks, Nicole. I think there is a correlation between the high number of casual employees that are seeking full-time or permanent work with the high percentage that are actively seeking a new job. Yeah, that could be very true. Thanks, Nicole. So a little bit more about the difference between a highly engaged team and a team with low engagement. The high engaged team has 14% more productivity, 10% higher customer ratings. This one's important, 23% higher productivity, 18% higher sales. So we know this. And just quickly, a little bit more data from The Happiness Advantage, a wonderful book by Sean Achor. When people are feeling happier or more engaged, they're more productive and they sell more. Now, selling more might not be relevant to every role, but we can add any other result-driven outcome there and replace that with that. So better results. Why does this matter? Bringing this down to a really simple essence. Why is this important? Create a better world. Happy people at work equals a better world. Assuming what we're doing at work matters, and assuming what we're doing at work is moving us towards a better world because of all these stronger results. So let's create a better world. Let's create a better world by creating happier people, right? This all makes sense, and this really resonates with me as something that's really important in what we can offer here at Think Productive. So that's the data. Yet, only 30% of executives strongly agree that engagement is a significant organizational focus. I know there's a lot of numbers here. I know there's a lot of words. We're going to get into the more heart stuff I love, the more heart-centered information soon. But this is very concerning. If people are not thinking this matters, that's a good starting point. How do we get them to realize it matters? Well, probably training like this, get them to know the data, get them to understand the data and how having a focus on engagement can really start to shift, what matters. And in conjunction with this, less than half the world's managers have received management training. That's probably why. That's probably the reason. So a lot going on there. So when we think about how can we improve engagement, and I'm about to start getting into this now, how do we improve engagement? Well, you can't pay someone into it. No matter how much money you give someone, it's not going to make the difference. You can't logic someone into it. You can't argue them into it or give them the logic that they should be happy because there is fruit in the kitchen and you do get to work from home one day a week. You can't convince someone because it's a feeling. It's a personal, emotional process. Engagement is from the heart. So it's personal. It's emotional. It's like we can't just convince people with long reports. We can't convince people with long meetings. It has to be more than this. It has to be deeper, the next level down. And almost no leaders are trained on this. They're trained on getting the work done. They're trained on the outcomes. So we've solved this. We feel like we really do have a solution for this, and I'm so excited to share some of these solutions with you today. Another comment in the chat here. We talk about the ability, thanks Kelly, we talk about the ability that work-life balance. We talk about the ability to have that work-life balance, but do we see the more we work from home in the group environment, the less connected we became? I believe so. The more we work from home, we are becoming less connected. That is hard. That is making it harder. We have ways to help with that, obviously. And Nicolette, it's hard to be engaged when your manager doesn't show engagement. Absolutely. This is why the managers are so important. And we all know that quote. People don't leave their companies, they leave their managers. So it's at this manager level where we start to create a groundswell on this, create a shift. So here's the big question. How can I positively influence a person's emotional experience? So introducing our new workshop, Cracking the Engagement Puzzle. Understanding human motivation to energize and inspire your team. This has been one of my passions for my whole career, trying to understand motivation. My own motivation, but then also, of course, the motivations of the team I managed in past lives, in past careers. This workshop's been developed by our team in the UK and Europe with input from all of us around the world. This workshop's ready to go. The essence of this workshop and what we dive into are what we call the 7 human needs at work. So I'm going to share these with you now. These 7 human needs are the levers to make a change. Gives us something to focus on, something to act on. And after I share these, I'm going to do a quick poll to see which one of these are most important to you. So that'll be really interesting for me to see the data on that. So these 7 needs have come from we've created these from a lot of background research, a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of study, a lot of experience. We've looked at 50 years of social science research. We've gone all the way back to 1889 when Nintendo was founded. Nintendo, the gaming company, was founded based on a set of cards that were developed. And these playing cards were sort of one of the first sort of real introductions of the core human need for play and joy, because play and joy are so important. Now, I know I haven't shown you the 7 needs yet, but you'll see the relevance when we get there. So these Hanafuda playing cards helped people relax, connect, enjoy moments together. Way back in 1899. Then we went further. We went back about 4,000 years to look at the origins of yoga, origins of chi and chakras and the energy centers. Now, you might think this is a little bit woo-woo, but this is science, human science that has been with us for thousands of years. So there's a lot behind these 7 human needs at work. So what are they? Let me share them with you. Starting at the base, safety. We need trust. We need psychological safety so that we can feel able to contribute, manage that amygdala, that lizard brain that we talk about in a lot of our training. We need play. We need fun. The happiness advantage. Play is a key human need, right back to the launch of the Nintendo Hanafuda cards. Power. With power, we feel free. We feel autonomous. Belonging. Gratitude. Appreciation. We need this. Belonging to a tribe. Belonging to a community. So belonging, the 4th, 7 of the 7 human needs here. Self-expression. Self-expression. We can express our values. We get to use our values. Leaders need to know the values of their team so that people can speak their truth and be working in their truth. Now, in our workshop, we go into each one of these. And I'm going to go into one of these today and just show you the amount of detail we go into with each one of these. Inspiration. We want people to have a vision. We need to have a vision as humans. It's one of our needs. We need our vision. It's our intuition. It's our deeper intelligence. If we're not connected with this intuition, our deeper intelligence, it cuts us off from our feelings. We no longer have these emotional feelings, this connection and purpose or meaning. We need purpose or meaning to help us feel like we're making a difference. Right, so I want to do a poll now on this. Just let me get the poll set up here. I'm curious here for you. So for this poll, I'd love you please to choose which of these human needs do you most need to work on for you or your organization, but which of these human needs would make the biggest difference to you? Or are you feeling the need to work on this the most in your work and your organization? Thank you for answering this. This is like live data that's going to help us as we roll out this Cracking the Engagement puzzle further. It's going to help us just understand where we're at here in Australia with our clients, in our Ninja family, so we can help you the most when we're delivering this workshop for you. All right, thank you. We've had nearly 100 people answer that already. Jump in, answer that poll. Beautiful. So I'm looking at the data. Inspiration is the highest. I'll share the data in a minute. Inspiration followed by purpose. These are the highest level. When we think about those yogic chakras, these are the areas where we start getting spiritual connection, if you like, rather than just the more human bodily need. So inspiration is still the highest. I'll end the poll now and share the results. You should be able to see these on the screen, I hope. So yeah, 26% for inspiration. So the ranking, 26% inspiration, 20% purpose, 18% belonging, 16% play. Good. Thank you. That gives us a good ranking there. So what we're going to have a look at now is belonging. I've just chosen one of these needs to share with you how we talk about these in our workshop, how we would support you and your teams with this, and to give an example of this. So with belonging, with all of these needs, we start by looking at what's the need, why is it blocked, and how can we fulfill it at work? That's really the most important thing. Let's look at what's blocked it, what are the behaviors that are stopping this from being a free-flowing emotion, and how to fulfill it. So I'll go through these slides now very quickly. You can pause the recording and digest these further, but I just want to give you an essence of what we cover in this workshop. So why is it blocked? We go through some of the details around what causes belonging to be blocked. And we do this with every one of the needs. And then how to unblock it. So some simple ideas, some simple techniques to help. We want everyone to feel needed, wanted, trusted, welcomed. We want everyone to feel accepted and valued by their leader. So the real formula for belonging and what we want to focus on is gratitude, social support, and appreciation. Now, in our workshop, of course, we go through this in a lot more detail, but we only have half an hour together today. We talk about the happiness advantage and bring in some information from that, why it matters and what the results can be gained from this. Gratitude, social support. All of these things making a huge difference. Appreciation. So if we're doing this with leaders, we would be doing exercises, getting them to think, how can you do this for your team? How can you value them more? So appreciation is so important. We love Brene Brown. Brene says, the truth is belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because you believe that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. Oh, we love Brene. So one of the exercises we do here is a self-appreciation exercise. So this is great to do with the managers because it starts there, but then they can do this with their teams. We get them to write about what they uniquely appreciate about themselves, and then they share. So what this is building, people start to get appreciation for themselves. They can start to share that with others, feel more belonging, and over the time, they start to learn more about each other and feel more part of this team. So more sharing. And then finally, we get them to say, what experiments will you do? And they're experiments. This is about trying in our teams. So in our workshop, we go through each of the needs like that in a lot of detail and a lot slower than that. Okay, this is just to give you the feel. But there's the data for you. There's the information. You can go back to the recording and pause that if you need. I'm just checking the chat to see if there were any questions. I see there's a bit of a conversation going on there. Thank you. Well, there's even a link to something about playing. Okay, thanks, Erin. We'll have a play with that. In the follow-up email, I'll include any of these links as well for you all. So emotions are contagious. This is where I want to sort of leave this engagement conversation. Emotions are contagious. As someone said, how can we be engaged if our leaders aren't engaged? So as you know, what we always like to do in these sessions is get you to reflect on what will you do now that I've shared all this information. And I know I've just been talking at you mostly. That is the webinar structure. But what will you do now? What's been inspired in you? What have I sparked in you this morning? I'd love you to share that in the chat. What have I sparked in you? What have you thought, yeah, I need some of that? I'm going to go and talk to my manager about how we get this happening in our team. Or if I'm the manager, I'm going to talk to my team about these 7 needs and see what we can do to work on together. If you'd like to have a look at the Cracking the Engagement Puzzle workshop, you can find this on our website. All right, and I'll put the link in the chat for you here. All the details are on the website. Now, don't leave because I've got a giveaway for you, as always, once I stop the recording. But there's a link to the Cracking the Engagement Puzzle workshop there on our website. Now, let's look at some of these comments. That self-appreciation reflection, I think, oh, I lost that one. The cat's going so fast. Run the self-appreciation exercise in my teams. Beautiful, Robin. Rachel, any tips on how as a mid-manager change the mindset so I don't pass feelings of disengagement onto my team? Oh, let's talk, Rachel. How can you change your mindset as a manager? Yes, let's talk. Let's get in touch. Let's have a chat about that one. That's a lovely question. Once we bring our awareness to the emotions, we can change the world. Yes, we can. Oh, that's you, Julie. Okay, yes, we can. Bree says, I will do some research. I want to take these 7 human needs and use them, try to improve my team's experience at work. I will send you all a handout that includes these 7 needs as well. Okay. Abby says to Rachel, try journaling as a starting point. Yeah, great suggestion, Abby. Thank you. Lots of comments in the chat there. Thank you, everyone. If you'd like more information about all the work we do at Think Productive, go to our website. If you want to find our upcoming events, click on the free resources, free webinars, public workshops coming up as well. So all the information about everything that's coming up is on the website. Just let me go there for you now. So on our homepage, public workshop shows you what we've got coming up. Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas. That's a fantastic workshop. 6 weeks to Ninja starting on the 7th of August. And there's more coming, but keep an eye on the public workshops page and the free resources, Ninja Skill Boosters. Our next one is a bonus session or a slightly different session where we talk about strengths with one of our colleagues, Murray Guest. So register for that one. All right, everyone, thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now and I'm going to do our giveaway. So stay there, stay there. Thank you for joining us. I will stop the recording.